30 seconds.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. We're just waiting for more people to come online.
That's the Facebook thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, take it away.
Hi friends, it's Raven here, your East Coast Convoy leader out of St. John's, Newfoundland, and your coordinator for Operation Hug a Trucker. We are the grassroots part of our program here in Ottawa, showing you and educating you as to what's happening here and giving you the real news.
My name is Roy. I'm with Taking Back Our Freedoms, and we're going to be sharing something very important for all Canadians, an action item that is critical for all Canadians to get involved with. If we want to see our freedoms retained, we need to invite you to that call to action.
And my name is Jeff. I'm the operations ground coordinator to support everybody that is here, part of the peaceful demonstration, to make sure they get what they need to stay fed, happy, warm, and comfortable.
Je suis Paul Aubu, un camionneur du Nouveau-Brunswick qui est ici depuis le début pour la partie française.
So you're first?
I'm first. So just to let you know what my role is with the Operation Hug a Trucker, I'm moral support and education. Just to let you know what's happening here in Ottawa, we have a whole bunch of 3-foot short people running around in bouncy castles, sparklers, fireworks. The weekend is full of activities, multiculturalism. The beauty about this whole movement that resonates with me most is that no race, religion, status defines us. So,
You got to let him.
oh,
Okay.
sorry, Paul. Go ahead.
Responsable pour Hug the Trucker, c'est un câlin pour les camionneurs. Les feux d'artifice qui se passaient, les amusements qui ont été mis en place toute la fin de semaine, c'est la responsabilité de Raven, puis elle fait une bonne job. Elle est capitaine de l'Est, elle vient de Newfoundland, puis elle apporte tous ses talents avec nous autres.
Thank you. So in the next upcoming days, we're going to try to educate the community and followers about the safety and effectiveness of the vaccines, that it's not one size fits all. Right now, we're up to almost 1,000 people that have lost a loved one or is majorly struggling from side effects of these vaccines. So we're going to be doing a war memorial.
Dans les prochains jours, on va faire beaucoup de lobbying pour faire comprendre l'autre version du vaccin. Il y a eu 6 000 personnes qui ont été affectées par ça, qui ça se parle pas. Puis on veut porter attention et avec amour.
And on that day, we will be placing flowers and candles to have a vigil for the lost lives.
On va aller placer des fleurs et des chandelles pour ces personnes. C'est les loved ones, les amours qu'on a perdus.
We will be joined by world-class doctors and scientists with heavy accolades to educate that it's not a one-size-fits-all and to have the option is mandatory.
On va être assisté par des professionnels de la santé, des docteurs, et qui vont expliquer les côtés de ça, que le vaccin, c'est pas une grandeur qui fait à tout le monde, comme il se dit en anglais, one size fits all, mais c'est que il faut que ça soit, c'est plus que ça.
So if anybody would like us to add you to the families, you can send an email to freedomconvoy05@gmail.com, and we'll ensure that your information is placed with the families that we already have.
S'il y en a qui veulent suivre avec nous autres, vous pouvez placer par email. Répète l'email.
Yes.
C'est l'email again.
Email
Freedom Convoy?
Freedom
05
Convoy 05.
05@gmail.com.
Freedom Convoy 05
At gmail.com.
@gmail.com.
05. So yeah, with that being said, I'm going to pass everything over to my friend Roy here. He's going to be the education for us on how we can all play our active role in the future of our country.
Elle va passer la parole à Roy, qui va continuer à expliquer les détails de nos procédures.
Thank you. very quickly, we're going to be talking about the Prime Minister's invocation of the Emergency Act that took place yesterday, once called the War Measures Act, and what it means and what we need to do in response to it.
Fait que ce qu'on va parler, c'est l'acte de guerre qui a été présenté en Chambre hier par le Premier ministre, puis qu'est-ce qu'on a besoin de faire pour faire tomber ça.
The Emergency Act gives the Prime Minister extreme powers, virtually dictatorship powers, instantly, but there is a requirement for parliamentary approval within 7 days.
C'est que cet acte de guerre-là donne extrêmement un grand pouvoir au Premier ministre, puis, mais il y a des façons, des étapes à faire avant que ça s'aille passer. Puis c'est ça qu'on va vous dire, qu'il faut que ça y fait, qu'on peut emmener des idées.
So we need to act quickly. The Prime Minister could bring it to a vote tomorrow.
Ça fait qu'il faut agir vite, parce que le Premier ministre, il peut emmener ça au vote demain.
He's going to be counting to see if he has the votes. The moment he has it, he will immediately take action to get approval from Parliament.
Il va vérifier avec tous les parlementaires, les MP, les membres, puis aussitôt qu'il va sentir qu'il peut faire passer, il va passer au vote. Ça fait que
So we need to get on the phone tonight, tomorrow. We need to get immediately in touch with our members of Parliament, and every single one of them put maximum pressure on them to vote against the continuance of the emergency.
Ça fait qu'il faut embarquer sur les téléphones, les emails, tout le monde partout au Canada, envoyez-les à vos représentants fédéraux. Suite à soir, demain matin, il faut que ça s'aille fait. Il faut que vous lui demandez qu'il vote contre cette résolution-là que le Premier ministre a proposé pour l'état de guerre.
Now, you might say, I don't know who my MP is, my member of Parliament, or how do I get his phone number or her phone number, right? So, very important that we get the information, and it can be obtained at www.ourcommons.ca/members. So go to the government, there's a website, you just type in your postal code. Again, www.ourcommons.ca/members, and if you /EN, you get English. If you /FR, it's French, I think, right? So, yeah, that's where you go.
Fait que si vous ne savez pas qui est votre député ou vous voulez avoir le contact, vous pouvez aller sur Internet à www.ourcommons, c'est ourcommons.ca/members, les membres, MEMBERS, / en français, ça va être FR. Puis
Okay.
vous allez avoir la liste avec les contacts.
So this is important. You need to call them, both the constituency office and parliamentary office. 2 phone calls and an email. And you need to make sure you get through to a person and talk to them.
C'est bien important que vous faites des téléphones à leurs offices, puis au Parlement, puis envoyez un email. Quand vous téléphonez, il faut vous parler à quelqu'un. Il faut qu'il y ait quelqu'un qui vous réponde, que vous nommez, que vous dites, qui vote contre cette affaire-là. J'essaie le parti que ça voudra, parlez à vos députés fédéraux, dites-leur le message.
Now, there's a lot of people viewing that are not Canadian. I have a call to action for you as well. What you need to do is make a phone call to the local Canadian embassy or consulate. Express extreme concern of dictatorial actions being taken place here in Canada. We need you to rally for us as Canadians.
Il y a eu des téléphones de l'extérieur du pays. Il faut que les gens qui sont concernés par ça, qui appellent à l'ambassade, puis qui expriment leurs inquiétudes à propos de ça. Gênez-vous pas toutes, il y a des ambassades canadiennes partout. Ceux-là qui sont à l'extérieur, appelez à votre ambassade canadienne, faites vos inquiétudes, dites-leur qu'il ne faudrait pas que ça passe pour nous autres, les Canadiens.
I noted today that in New York at the consulate, the Canadian consulate, there were a large number of protesters there protesting against what's happening here in Canada.
À New York, il y a eu une grosse protestation à l'ambassade canadienne pour nous autres, pour les Canadiens ici, de ce qui se passe à Ottawa.
So again, when you're calling your MP, your member of parliament, there's a few things that you need to know, and I'm just going to say to you, if you want the detail of this, there's going to be a webcast in just a very short time, tbof.ca, and on that webcast we're going to give you talking points, so that if you want to be a little more educated, go to tbof.ca. There's going to be a webinar, webcast at 9 p.m. Ontario time.
Si vous voulez avoir plus d'éducation sur le sujet, vous pouvez aller sur un site tbof.com, .ca,
Yeah.
à 9h
Tonight, 9 p.m. Okay.
ce soir à 9h p.m. à l'heure de l'Ontario.
So just as an example, we're going to help people understand that there's certain conditions under which the emergency measures are allowed to be declared. So for example, Section 3 of the Emergency Act spells out the circumstances. It must be a national emergency that seriously endangers the lives and health and safety of Canadians.
OK. Sur ce site-là, vous allez avoir l'explication, c'est quoi ce que c'est l'acte de guerre qu'il veut mettre en place, dont le numéro 3 qui est Emergency Act, qui met la vie en danger des citoyens. Puis c'est expliqué, vous allez voir d'autres, là, mais il y en a une que c'est ça, puis automatiquement, vous voyez bien que la vie de personne est en danger ici.
The other possible reason is a national emergency that seriously threatens the ability of the Government of Canada to preserve its sovereignty.
National, this one you got me. Say it again.
A national emergency that seriously threatens the Government of Canada, its sovereignty of the Government of Canada.
C'est que l'autre condition qu'il y a dedans, c'est que ça dérange, que ça peut être dangereux pour la citoyenneté canadienne. Souveraineté canadienne, excusez.
So we didn't practice all this interpretation, but I
No.
appreciate
They called
it
me
so
2
much.
minutes before. Just jump in.
But
Just do my best.
we need everybody across Canada, of course, from Quebec and New Brunswick, every French-speaking, every English-speaking, so we appreciate that you're here and so
Thank
much.
you, Roy.
But this is a fact. Neither of these conditions are being met.
Il n'y a pas une de ces conditions-là qui a été rencontrée et qui a voté l'acte de guerre. Il n'y a pas de raison possible que ça passe.
Yeah. And so there's accusations, false accusations against the truckers here in this city. I don't think I have to say any more than it's been one thing after another that is 100% the opposite of the truth.
Il y a eu beaucoup d'accusations qui sont pas vraies, qui ont été faites contre les camionneurs dans la ville. Il ne veut pas en parler plus longtemps parce que depuis qu'on est ici, c'est ça qui se passe. On a été traités de terroristes et de tout ce que vous voulez. Puis les gens sont libres. Puis il n'y a rien de ça qui est arrivé.
So those are the practical points, that there's no basis. If you look at the rules for invoking the emergency, there's no basis for an emergency. And this place here is the opposite of anything that justifies an emergency. It's a peaceful protest.
C'est une protestation très en paix. Tout le monde est bien relax. Les gens circulent. Samedi, dimanche, j'ai eu une foule énorme. Il n'y a pas arrivé un incident. On est là, on surveille nous autres mêmes. C'est ça le mot d'ordre. La paix, l'amour, le respect. C'est ça qu'on fait. Ça fait qu'il n'y a aucune raison de quoi ce qu'il fait là, d'appeler ça, à part que vous l'avez gagner son point.
So I want to encourage everyone, spread the word. You can come on to tbof.ca and watch the webcast at 9 p.m.
On invite le monde à envoyer parlez-en partout, envoyez-le par les réseaux sociaux, par téléphone, partout. Donnez l'explication ou venez sur le site de CBOF, venez chercher l'information. S'il y a d'autres choses, ben, on va communiquer encore. Mais c'est très important du moment actuel aller à demain qu'il faut vous faites des téléphones, email, s'il vous plaît.
We need not just thousands, we need millions of Canadians making phone calls over the next 48 hours.
On n'a pas besoin, on ne demande pas juste des mille, on demande des millions de Canadiens qui fassent, s'il vous plaît, faites des téléphones, faites des emails, envoyez-les, s'il vous plaît.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to turn it over to Jeff for final comments, and I heard that there's still peace in the city.
Well, we stand united. I don't see anybody running in chaos out of here right now, so I'd agree with that, Roy. Perhaps maybe we'll see if there's any questions before we close.
I'd like to ask if, Jeff, if the morale of the guys is strong. I sense that it was today, but if you could give us an insight.
Well, the guys, the girls, the families, the children that are here as part of the peaceful demonstration, I would say stand unwavering. And as we see challenges around us, it does nothing but build unity, it builds strength, and it builds community among everybody that's here.
Can I ask Paul a question? You're a trucker.
Yes.
Can you tell us in the French language why you came here? So I know there's lots of people that speak French.
Okay.
Feel free to just tell that from your heart.
Je suis pas un trucker, je suis un propriétaire d'entreprise, puis j'ai des camionneurs en dessous de moi. On va aux États-Unis. On a une partie des trucks qui vont aux États-Unis. Sur 8 chauffeurs, j'en ai 6 qui ne sont pas vaccinés. C'est la raison, ça c'est une raison, mais à Noël, on a discuté encore, puis ils m'ont expliqué qu'ils sont dans le truck tout seul depuis que c'est commencé. Et puis, qui ont fait la job du début. Ils ont été aux États-Unis, ils ont été les autres au Canada, il ne faut pas que je les oublie. On fait l'Ouest canadien aussi et les maritimes. On va dans pas mal grand. Puis, quand ça allait arriver, les truck stops fermés, les chambres de bain fermées, les douches, les toilettes, même des take-out. Puis quand ça a commencé à rouvrir les take-out, les gars étaient obligés d'aller dehors à pied avant, en bas de zéro, jusqu'à on passe en auto, là, puis commander. La porte était fermée, ils ne pouvaient pas rentrer à l'intérieur du tout. Puis ils ont fait la job, ils ont continué. Puis c'est de ça qu'on a discuté là, à Noël, là, quand on était sérieux avec ça. Puis ils m'ont tout... C'est là... Moi, j'essayais de les convaincre, puis c'est les autres qui m'ont convaincu. Puis on est au Canada. C'est le pays reconnu pour la liberté, le pays qu'on est libre, un grand pays libre. Puis là, on se fait dicter, on se fait emmener avec un passeport vaccinal. Fait que là, ça a été à goutte. J'ai monté ici avec 2 camions. Je suis ici depuis ce temps-là. Le reste de l'équipe travaille encore, excepté que j'ai 2 chauffeurs sur 8 qui allent aux États-Unis. J'en ai 2 qui ont traversé les lignes les journées juste avant le point final. Quand ils sont revenus au Canada, dans notre pays libre, ils sont fait envoyer chez eux pour 14 jours à la maison. S'ils étaient pognés en dehors de la maison, 1000 piastres de fine par jour. Fait que là, c'est là, moi, c'est ça. Ils me demandent pourquoi ça fait que je suis ici. C'est pour ça. Assez, c'est assez. C'est ça que je passe sur mes lives. Enough is enough, c'est assez, on a fini avec ça, on est ici, on reste ici, on ne s'en va pas d'ici tant qu'on n'a plus les mandats de drop pas, que c'est tout parti. C'est ça ma raison.
Thank you so
you.
much. A question?
Jim Torma, reporting for Steel Truth. Go ahead, Elizabeth. What's your question? What advice do you have for American truckers that are organizing Convoy to Washington, D.C.? What advice do you have?
I'll let you organize that. That's your question.
Keep it peaceful.
I would say keep it peaceful, stay united. Together, we can all rise. We've seen it happen interprovincially, nationally, internationally, globally. The movement that was started here in Canada has inspired the world to speak up. But the main message is peace and unity, and it has to stay that way to be effective and to be heard.
Are there any MPs that currently have any petitions that they've produced for signature at all that you know of?
I'm not aware of any, but I would say that a petition is too slow. What we need is phone calls, phone calls, phone calls. Million phone calls, and that's going to be very, very important over the next 48 hours. I can't, we have no idea when the Prime Minister will try to pull the trigger for a vote. And then at that point, it's a real problem. I believe he has a real problem having enough votes right now. We're within 18 votes or so, we believe, of just moving people from one side to the other, and that's very, very close. So let's make sure we get on the phones in Quebec, every part of Canada, every party. That we know that there's people breaking from every party right now. So don't think you're having an NDP person to not phone that person. That person can be persuaded, and it could be by one vote that we win. So every person needs to call as much as possible.
And is the Senate involved in this at all?
The Senate will be involved. If it passes parliamentary approval, then the Senate will then also, that becomes our second line of defense. I always say, but never count on the second line when you can win on the first, right? So first line of defense, members of parliament. Then, of course, if that doesn't work, we go to the Senate. But right now, it's members of parliament. That's where our focus needs to be.
I know you
What?
say it, you say it in French, the story. Can you say it in English as well? I think a lot of people in the English side of Canada would want to hear this story as well.
Okay. What I say in French is that he asked me why I'm here in Ottawa. Since the beginning, I decided to come because at Christmas I had 8 drivers running U.S. usually. On 8 drivers, only 2 drivers had a vax. So at one point, 2 of my drivers who had no vax went to the U.S. just before that date that we needed. So on the way back home, when they came to the border, they've been sent home for 14 days. No pay from government, no nothing. And they had to go home, and they had to leave there, stay there. They can leave home for 14 days, no pay. And if they leave home and they get caught, it's $1,000 a day every time they were out of their house. So it's a house arrest. And that'd be it for me. And the driver, I explained too that when that COVID started, they did the job. They went out there every day, every week, and no truck stop open for service, for food, showers, bathroom, nothing. Takeout, restaurant, they had to walk at the drive-through, wait for their lunch, -20, take the lunch, go back to the truck, eat it inside. That's the way they live. And like they told me, we were not able to go inside any warehouse, anywhere. They won't take our paperwork because they were afraid of the virus. And just back up over there, stay in your truck. When you're done, you pull and you close your door. We'll bring a paper with a 4-foot pole at the end with a little piece of paper saying this is it. And anyway, they did the job. They carry on, but the 6 on 8 refused that vax, and they don't want to go no more, and affect my company a lot. That's why I'm here with 2 trucks since the beginning. I joined the East Convoy, and I came down. And I'm here to stay. until the answer is the one we want. No mandates.
Excellent.
Now, is it just no mandates, or are we also looking at repealing the Reopening Act? Ontario is an example. Every province has a different type of emergency type order that could instantly have mandates brought back again. So are we staying here to make sure that everything is completely wiped out, so we're completely back to a free state, or is it just the mandates that we're talking about?
Well, for sure, it's the end of the emergencies, right? So the mandates come and go with every wave, and they always say they're over and then they come back. We have to do, first of all, end the emergencies, right? So that's the mechanism by which the mandates are proclaimed. But then, after that, the real work begins. We have to make sure this never happens again. And if you want to have an idea of what that looks like, go to Western Standard and look for the article written by Jeff Rath. And he describes what that next step looks like. And that includes public inquiries in every province and federal public inquiries to get to the bottom of what really happened and who is responsible for the actions that really resulted in the deaths of tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of Canadians that were completely unnecessary. And of course, I'm not just saying that. We're going to have a public inquiry with judges and open process where people get to bring the evidence to the table. But I believe that's what we're going to see in that. That's the next step after these emergencies are over.
We know that in the federal, most of the restriction is for traveling mostly, and the rest of the health measure is mostly for the province. Now they are talking about lifting the measure, lifting the vaccine passport, but with the condition of passing a law that they can bring it back anytime that they want. Are you going to comply to this compromise, or you will say no to that?
I don't think anyone here can speak to that on behalf of the Freedom Convoy. I think we'd be guessing as to what their bottom line is going to be, and I don't want to speak to that. I'm just seeing them being very firm, no mandates, no emergency, and there might be like loopholes that exist, and that'll be a decision of the Freedom Convoy and the other truckers that are here. But it's a very good question, but just not ours to answer, I don't think.
No.
I'd like to add about this emergency act in general, about, from my perspective, and I've been here since day one. The city had asked for emergency lanes to be open to ensure that there was safe passage to and from the hospitals with open communication that was delivered. We were asked by the city to ensure that trucks stopped beeping their horns at 8 p.m. We complied as they directed. We were asked if we could move trucks out of residential areas to not, of course, they're big trucks and people are scared because they don't know really what's happening. We complied. So for every single thing that has been asked of us for the safety and the concern of our community that has been articulated through the municipalities, we've complied. We have families here, we have old senior people here that have come out that are veterans, all in support. So I'm really hard-pressed to understand how our Prime Minister can call in the Emergency Act when he hasn't even taken the time to communicate with us or to even take the time to, I'm assuming, explore the grounds. Because if you were here, I really don't even know how you'd explain it to anybody. It's like a winter Woodstock. You've got little toddlers saying, give me a hug, and you've got veterans saying, fight for your freedoms. 90% last week, I don't know what the statistics are this week, 90% of crime was reduced in downtown Ottawa as a result of our presence. So I think the more of a state of emergency that we have to deal with is the breakdown of communication and roles and responsibilities of responsible governance to our people.
J'aimerais traduire.
Yeah.
On a été demandé d'ouvrir des lignes d'emergency, des lignes urgentes pour accès des pompiers et des ambulances pour les hôpitaux. On a été demandé d'arrêter les klaxons, les flûtes à partir de 8h p.m. le soir. Ça a été fait. On a été demandé de... C'est quoi l'autre affaire? 1, 2, 3. Emergency lane,
The emergency lane, the horns, and the moving out of residential areas.
OK. Puis ils nous ont demandé de sortir d'un coin plus résidentiel, les camions, les emmener plus proche de Wellington. Ça a été fait aussi. Et puis, on a eu des demandes de la ville, on les a écoutées, on les a faites. Il y a 90% moins de crimes depuis qu'on est dans la ville. Après ça, c'est quoi? Oui, c'est pourquoi qu'ils demandent l'état d'urgence quand on a parlé avec la communauté, la ville, puis on respecte les personnes qui marchent. On a du support des vétérans, des personnes âgées. On se fait. Moi, je sais que j'ai de la visite à mon truck à tous les jours. Merci pour être ici. Thank you, truckers, to be here. Il n'y a pas de cas d'urgence, là, pas pantoute. Là. Il y en a un qui a un cas d'urgence, c'est notre premier ministre.
Thank you.
Can I ask, sorry I'm late, your name, how to spell, and in what capacity you are speaking tonight?
So I'm Roy with the Taking Back Our Freedoms. I'm Executive Director, and we're calling people to take action, to call the members of Parliament, and to reverse the invocation of the Emergency Act by the Prime Minister.
Your last name?
I'd rather not say.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm Raven from St. John's, Newfoundland. I'm here on the capacity of Raven News and Operation Hug a Trucker. I'm trying to wake up my province.
My name's Jeff, and I'm the Director of Operations and Ground Coordinations to make sure that everybody that is here, patiently waiting to be acknowledged, is kept safe, fed, warm, and happy.
I'm Paul from New Brunswick. Je suis Paul du Nouveau-Brunswick pour la partie française du Québec et du Nouveau-Brunswick. Je suis venu représenter, ça me fait plaisir de faire de mon mieux pour la traduction et l'information à tous les gens qui parlent français.
One Canadian here is saying that the truckers have sparked the hearts of all Canadians with their love, and just asking that it's not just the truckers now, that it's all of the Canadians who have joined with the truckers, and just wanted you to comment on that. It's become much more than just the truckers.
Oh, yes, absolutely. This is where we can have a chat again. I'm from, of course, Atlantic Canada, and when they were explaining about the convoy and trucks, I was like, well, we have trucks come in. We don't have a lot of trucks come out.
Quand c'est arrivé, on avait beaucoup de trucks qui sont rentrés, il n'y a pas beaucoup de trucks qui sont sortis.
Yes, so now on the east coast of Canada, there's actually a boat convoy. If you can believe that. It's starting in the next couple of days. I've heard of helicopter convoys, I've heard of horse convoys, and recently we just did a jerry can convoy.
We're having fun here in Ottawa,
Ouais.
certainly, and there's a lot of people who appreciate the leadership of the truckers but are standing behind them in a very big way.
So I have a serious question. You know, a lot of people are talking about social distancing, masking, and all the rest of that. I haven't been masking. I've never masked. I'm hugging everybody. I'm sure you're hugging everybody. I just wanted to know, did the COVID deaths all of a sudden go up real high? Are we having hospitalizations? Are people dropping like flies on the street? A serious question, though, because one of the things they're saying is that we are close together and we're hugging. There must be, you know, a massive pandemic going on right now. Can somebody say something?
I would just say to people, you all watched the Super Bowl last Sunday, right? There's no masking, no social distancing. There's 12 countries that put an end to the mandates. It's just common sense. Omicron is very, very quickly spreading, but it's minor. It's like a cold. The best thing we can do, it's a gift from God or nature, whatever you want to believe, is allow Omicron to create for you natural immunity, and let's get back to normal.
Yes, please.
Le monsieur il a posé une question à nous autres, que si on est tous ici pas masqués, on est tous ensemble, ils voient qu'on a on se colle, on se donne des hugs, des câlins, puis il a demandé si on a vu des personnes le COVID, qui ont attrapé le COVID, qui ont tombé malades ou quelque chose. Puis notre ami il a répondu, prenez juste le Super Bowl qu'il y a eu aux États-Unis, là, l'estrade était bien pleine, il n'y avait pas un masque là. Puis on n'entend pas parler de rien. Puis c'est le même dans les jeux de hockey aussi, puis dans les baseball, puis nomme-les. Puis c'est fini, là. C'est une grippe, c'est tout simplement ça. C'est là qu'on est rendu. Fait que on arrête ça. Okay. Enough is enough.
Another piece of news that surprised us this morning was Ottawa Chief of Police Peter Slowey resigned. The reason given was, I believe he was a bully to his.
We don't have any
workers.
comment on what's
No.
happening with the police chief. We had great communication with the municipality, and that's where our relation. That's everything that was asked. There was no bullying from any truckers or our department. So,
Any
what
ideas what that might
not a dust.
cause going forward?
Nope.
Be very speculative, and we don't want to speculate.
Yeah, we have no idea.
A number of people have asked about the weapons found at the Alberta border blockade, and then there's speculation of where they planted. Those are like rumors going around. Do you have any comment on that, or any concerns for the convoy here?
I would think that you kind of almost answered it in one of the choice words that you used in posing the question, speculated. And to say that something happened halfway across the country, speculated, and then paint the brush or paint the entire movement, paint the entire global movement and the want and the desire for freedom and restoration of the rights with that same brush, it's that kind of mentality, I feel, is what got us into this mess to begin with. So, I mean, I hope that people at this point are engaged, paying attention, and fully understand. There's two sides to a coin, and you have to look at both sides of that coin objectively in order to formulate an opinion. Simply believing one side and one story, that's not right. And that's how we get into problems like this. And that's why we take the time to do pressers like this, to the media outlets that support us, to spread the word, that it's just not the way it is being portrayed on that legacy media that everybody seems to buy into. That's one side of the coin. This is the other. Now it's up to everybody else out there to make that objective decision using critical thinking, and not just to assume.
You could do the summation of that.
Summary.
You push. Il a été demandé que ce qui est arrivé dans l'Alberta, qui disent qu'il y avait des armes sur le barrage. Pour ma part, je peux témoigner que je vais rester en Alberta. Les gens là-bas, un arme dans la voiture, c'est normal. Là. Puis, mais ils n'ont jamais été dit si qui était enregistré, il était légal ou pas légal. Ah, il y a eu des armes, il y avait des armes. C'est à l'autre bout du pays. Nous autres, on est ici. Ils ont essayé de passer ça sur toute la communauté des camionneurs. Puis, on le sait, c'est ça qu'ils font, c'est de la propagande pour nous faire passer mal. Puis nous autres, on fait la protestation, c'est avec peace and love, puis avec amour et respect. Puis c'est ça qu'il y a eu de fait jusqu'à date. Puis on ne s'attache pas avec ça, que ce qui est arrivé là. C'est de la spéculation, puis il y a deux côtés de médaille, puis ça en est une là-bas qu'on ne sait même pas. On n'a pas d'affaires là-dedans ici. Merci.
Maybe just one more question anyone have? Are we good?
Just a question we see a lot on lives. Can any of you speak to the grassroots nature of this movement, how there's many people that have press conferences and a lot of people are confused as to who's who in the zoo? Can you guys speak to the nature of this movement?
I'll let Dana speak
I
to
knew
that.
that was coming. Who's who in the zoo? Well, grassroots movement is just that. Grass is kind of like wild growing and organic, and I would have to say that this is a very organically growing group. As time progresses, people will pop in and they'll bring their skill set or they'll offer help and support from, all of you fine folks that are helping us spread the word. So yeah, it is very, very organic. It's very real. It's very raw. Nobody here has ulterior motives. We're all here standing for our families and children and your families and your children. We support democracy. Nobody here wants to overthrow the government. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. You know, we're here fighting for the foundations that our forefathers and our charter has been put in place for. So when I say we're organic, you know, this is our country. Our country is not our government. Our government is the supports that are put in to support the people of our country. And, you know, we're upset. There's a lot of people that are upset. There's a lot of people that feel that their God-given rights are being removed. So we're just, you know, we're just here peacefully standing together organically as families and children. You know, people are like, why are there children at a convoy? Well, because they have rights too. You know, if they want to hold a little sign in the street that says, you know, I've got free hugs, you know, they're here for their families and their futures also. So, you know, we're not a corporation. We're not a group of CEOs, as you can tell. You know, we grabbed our translator, Paul, here, who's a fantastic person who just came for his own reasons. I came as an alternative news source. How did you end up here, Jeff?
I just want to see my kids smile.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
We're all about
That's it.
freedom. Get rid of the mandates, get rid of the emergencies.
Yeah.
Need to go back to BC, before COVID.
Yeah.
Can we hear that answer in French?
Don't miss anything.
Yeah. You won't pay me, right? Ce qui a été dit, c'est qu'il a été demandé ici que l'association, qui ce qui fait quoi, puis ce qui est quoi, comment est-ce qu'on est embarqué là-dedans, mais ça a tout venu du cœur. Moi, ma réponse en français, c'est on vient tout de suite, ça vient d'ici. On est venu ici pour la cause, on est venu ici pour nos enfants, nos petits-enfants, nos arrière-enfants. Nos ancêtres sont battus pour le pays, le Canada, pour garder la liberté. Il y en a qui ont été à la guerre, sont fait tuer. Il y en a qui sont revenus blessés. Mais ils l'ont fait pour notre pays. On a deux affaires ici. On a le pays, les gens, on a le gouvernement, et je peux donner ça comme il faut. Mais, où ce qu'on est ici, on n'est pas contre notre pays, on n'est pas contre notre constitution, on n'est pas contre rien de ça. Au contraire, on est ici pour la défendre. On veut que la Constitution reste là. On veut que la liberté des Canadiens revienne comme que c'était, qu'on peut voir le sourire à tout le monde, puis qu'on gagne notre point, pas un ou l'autre, c'est pour toute la population canadienne. Conseil, un Canada uni et fort et libre. Merci.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for
Thank you.
coming.
We'll close
Thank you.
the live. Just quiet.